our reaction to the Red Bull F1 2024 car launch.
Closest Ferrari have come to a Constructors' title in a while.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the P1 podcast on tour. But this time the tour is something excellent, Tom Bellingham, because we are here at Red Bull HQ. We've just witnessed the car launch.
We have.
And look at this backdrop. I am in Wonderland, Tommy, and I think you might well be too.
This is just the coolest place, like to be this close to Formula One cars. I love the way this looks like real life model cars, the way they're all in like little boxes and stuff. Very cool, love it.
It's incredibly cool. What isn't so cool is that we've already done this podcast and we've had to do it again because technical things.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter because we're still absolutely buzzing and we're going to tell you everything you need to know about what has gone on at this Red Bull car launch. And first and foremost, let's start, because we can't start with questions from you because technically it hasn't happened. We are in the future right now because everything's embargoed. We can't just go straight live with this. So we have done our own questions. So this one, well, actually it's just first thoughts. So I guess the first initial thoughts, Tommy, the car is literally just over there. We're looking at it. That's actually a show car, but you know, there's still, it was still over there where it was unveiled, and it's a thing of beauty, obviously. It's a Red Bull. You countlessly say every single year that they don't need to change anything. It's Red Bull, it's their branding, it's livery. It's like a Ferrari at this stage, right? They wouldn't change it to something crazy, even though in the background we have things like the camo livery over there, which is obviously amazing and whatnot. But yeah, first thoughts, filth.
Yeah. Livery-wise, it's the same as all these, which is no surprise. But like I've said before, it's that brand identity. I think the livery is perfect and they don't need to change it, basically. You think back to kind of, because I'm ancient, Vodafone, McLaren, Mercedes is a great example that they did that year after year after year. And I remember being on Twitter and people were like, oh, it's the same, it's the same, it's the same. But now you ask anyone, what's one of the most banging liveries ever? People will say that. And part of that is because it's been used multiple times and it's become iconic. And this Red Bull livery, is a modern, iconic livery now.
It's classic.
And I do think it is genuinely really cool. Like the Red Bull logos pop on the mat. It's awesome. And then the car itself, even for technical plebs like us, we can tell it's different, which is quite a scary thought if they've improved on last year.
Yes, we'll get on to exactly how scared I am a little bit later on. But this question comes in from Matt P1 Gallagher.
Oh, okay.
Was this the best car launch this year? For me, absolutely. Not just because we were here and we got to see it in the flesh, but they did almost exactly what we said a Formula One car launch should be. Apart from going out on track, but when away from the car launch that you would have seen, they did actually fire up an old school Red Bull. Which was absolutely music to my ears. It was incredible. But then just the chit chat, I know for a fact that some people would be like, it was a bit long, they're chatting away. But David Coulthard, that man has got a seductive kind of tone. He's very easy to listen to. Adrian Newey is a very distinctive person.
I love this stories.
Yeah. And then Christian Horner as well. It's and overall, I thought it was an interesting chat. Looking back at the history of Red Bull, 20 years.
Yeah.
How have they been around 20 years?
Yeah.
Oh, hold on.
Okay. This could make it interesting.
We're going into a car launch again. Okay.
There'll be a lot of people saying I'm a massive hypocrite because I said, you said you didn't mind the quick videos, and I don't, but this event is to celebrate 20 years of Red Bull's Formula One team, which, like you say, makes me feel incredibly old that they're a team that have been around that long. One thing I will just mention while it's in my head, Red Bull Racing used to be Stewart, and we met Jackie Stewart's grandson, who, shout out if he's watching, because he said he likes the P1 podcast, and Paul Stewart as well, came and had a chat with us, which was amazing and really, really cool. Yeah, the fact that they're celebrating the history of this team, it's cool to have a big event when it's an anniversary and a celebration. So they put on an amazing show. The video that did 20 years of Formula One. I mean, you said to me afterwards, that's a video. It was very, very cool.
And the thing is as well, I guess with the position that Red Bull are currently in right now, they're winning everything. So they can actually show the lows, and quite a few lows they put in the hype.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
Because, well, they can show the sort of journey that they've gone through. I did love how they, they had the multi-21 stuff in there.
Yeah.
They threw everything in.
They did, yeah.
So it was quite an honest look back, really, at what Red Bull have been through. They kind of were building up, then a bit of success, and then, of course, the Mercedes
down
era,
again,
and then back to success again. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. This next question comes in from Tom P1 Gallagher. No, Tom P1 Bellingham. This lighting is throwing me off. Why did Red Bull do one like this and others didn't?
Because it's the 20th anniversary.
If you can still see us, by the way, the lighting is changing all the time. It hasn't been changing this entire time. But now, because we've started filming our second recording of this podcast, they've decided Matt and Tommy can do it.
This is why we don't go outside.
Yes, because it's much easier at home. Anyway.
Yes, because it is the anniversary that they've been. I can see all the boards around, with the 20th anniversary logo, 20 years of Red Bull culture in racing. They were really celebrating the fact that they were this essentially like a bit of, it's unfair to say a joke team, but I think a lot of Formula One teams, if you think the mid 2000s, very corporate, you had the Ron Dennises and like that in Formula One, and Red Bull came in and they're like, we're an energy drink brand. Oh, this is, we're going to be a bit silly. And, they had a Star Wars livery and they had a Superman livery and all. And they were laughed at. And one thing that David Coulthard mentioned was, they were the first team to invite everyone, open their motorhome up, an energy station, to say, whatever team you work for, come in, have a drink. Yeah.
Have a sip of this energy drink.
Yeah,
you need it working in the F1 paddock.
Yeah, and they've kind of changed the game and they're celebrating that fact. So I think it's been a really cool event. And of course, we would say that because we're here. But it's really, really cool. Loved it.
This next question comes in from Matt P1 Bellingham. Wow, lots of different variations. What are your thoughts on what Adrian said? Now, I found this, this was the petrifying part. This was the scary part. This could be 24 wins out of 24 kind of part, when Adrian's mentioned about, the car in the simulator, and then they put it out in shakedown, and things were looking correlated to what they saw in the simulations. That is petrifying. The fact that they have been improving from last year's car. They said that last year as well that they weren't even expecting to be dominant, and then they'd had the most dominant season in Formula One history.
Yeah.
Adrian, I think, has been cooking in a massive cauldron. And when I look at that car, I am absolutely petrified that no one else is even going to get a sniff.
Yeah, it was very fascinating to Adrian Newey talk about 2021 and the crazy season that they had. And they were actually saying that they were behind at the start of 2022. They were late to development. And you thought, oh, that would, make it difficult for them. But they were still winning races. Of course, they did have a little bit of a struggle at the start. They think they had a double DNF, didn't they, in the first race? And which seems mad to think about now because it feels like they've been dominant for so long. But the way Red Bull have, they won that year comfortably in the end. Max wrapped up the title with a few races to go. And that's when they didn't have a head start on the competition. This year, they have, and the fact that it is an evolution, like I said at the start of the podcast, even plebs like us can tell that, we're normally here just going like, oh, the livery's not changed, but you can tell that is a different car because, my word, the shoulders, it's hench.
Yeah, it's got some bulbous shoulders on them. It's aggressive is the only way I can use to describe that car. You look at it and you go, wow, that is mean.
Yeah.
Similar to, I guess, Mercedes when they launched the no side pod concept, and that worked, didn't it? So
you're saying Red Bull?
No, because Adrian Newey's at the helm, so I'm never going to go against what he's cooking up. But it noticeably different. You see that there isn't much air intake either. You're like, how the hell are they going to cool the car? I'm sure they will. I'm sure they figure it out.
Yeah.
But it looks like a much quicker, meaner machine, and one which I think you'd be very silly to bet against them to win the championship. Oh yeah, wait, I put Lando Norris to win the world title. So maybe.
Have you changed your mind?
Yeah, I might backtrack on that, even though I didn't want to be boring. Next question from Tom P1 Tommy. Red Bull painted their car. Does this mean they have an advantage? As music starts now, we're going through all the motions here today. I think there's an interesting point about the painting of the car and this sort of stuff. Of course, it is still very much Red Bull branded.
Yeah.
But I think they get away with not painting as much of the car as perhaps it looks like when you show it on camera.
Yeah, exactly. Like they've obviously got this very dark navy as their kind of base color. And obviously we've been fortunate that we were, right at the front at the launch, and we could able to see how it looked. The front wing, for example, the rear wing is all carbon, but because it is like this really dark navy, you can't actually tell on track because it just looks like the navy almost looks black anyway. So yeah, they've got an advantage from that side, but they've still painted a lot of the car. So they're obviously pretty confident it's going to be very quick.
They're very confident, and they're also confidently trying to get us to leave now because we've had to re-record again. So finally, our experience of the car launch, Tommy, it's been incredible.
Wonderful.
As I say at the top, I think it's exactly what a car launch should be. Of course, they are celebrating a massive thing as well, so we don't expect this every single year. But just to see this kind of room is just an amazing piece of history. They've got so many cool rooms now because I guess they've been winning a lot, so therefore they have a lot to show off.
And Red Bull's spoiling you again. Monaco, Vegas,
car launch.
Ferrari,
Are you
converted yet?
You need to up your game, otherwise, Max, it's coming. All right, so Ferrari, let's get something, maybe a little drive in the F2004. Let's see what happens.
So as we mentioned at the start of the podcast, we had some technical issues, but we've worked around it. Some amazing people at Red Bull have managed to bring us some of the audio that was recorded away from our own faulty microphones, and we've salvaged a bit of the Sergio Perez interview. So I hope you enjoy it. Sorry it's not the best. Checo was actually on great form, so enjoy.
Team has done a tremendous job, considering how competitive we were last year and changing the world also. That's something huge, and huge for our team. And you just see how hungry everyone is here.
So having a bit of time out of the car and then getting in, I guess, the shakedown or first lap of the year. Do you go, oh God, that's fast again, isn't it? Does it catch you by surprise as nice on the lap?
Yeah, the first 2-3 laps is like, fast and brakes and so on. But then it gets back to normal. At the end of the rolling, maybe a bit sore from the whole body. It doesn't matter how much training you've done, you will always still be a bit sore, but it's just fun.
I was going to say, because you're training, you can't really prepare yourself to be thrown around in the Formula 1 car, but I guess you've been hanging weights off your neck and things like that.
Yeah, quite a lot.
Is that your least favourite episode?
Yeah, the neck, because once we always have like a huge neck through the system, and every time you turn around, it feels like you're moving a lot of muscle. So when you are in off-season, finally, you are relaxed, your muscles are relaxed. But when you start training the neck, it's like always a little bit of pain here and there.
Yeah, we spoke to Danny Rick recently, and he said that he genuinely has trouble sleeping because of how thick his neck might be.
Yeah.
Do you find this?
Yeah. It's like, once you start training the neck, I think it's a very different part of the body. And it's not just trying.
Absolutely not. And one final thing, we've asked all the drivers we've had on the podcast, what is one Formula 1 rule that you would change if you were in charge? What would be the one rule you'd change?
Routine. That's a good question. There are so many things I would like to change, but probably reduce the amount of races with it.
Yeah? What's not too late for you?
I think 20 would be a great number.
20. Right, perfect. Deco, thanks for kicking that. I appreciate it.
Tommy, what are your final thoughts?
Final thoughts are, thanks Red Bull for an amazing day, and not thank you to our microphones for not recording.
Yeah, screw you microphones. Thank you, Red Bull. Hopefully you also enjoyed the little voiceover dub that I've done of the Sergio Perez interview, because we still want to share with you what he actually said, even if apparently technology doesn't work. So we'll see you very soon. Lots of love, and screw microphones.
Bye.
Bye.